And
Hello, hello.
Hola, amigo.
Good boy.
all righty, righty, righty. Welcome, 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 everybody. It is Friday, May 9th, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, or whatever time it happens to be where you are, because you are watching us right now. Welcome to Unlimited Wisdom, episode 84, with Robert Hollis. And as we get started, I'd like to ask that you please hit the like button down below. Also, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe button too. It will help us to reach out to those with ears that hear and help us share our content. And we really appreciate the fact that you do that. So, without further ado, let's get started in here. Let's get it started in here. Uh, Matt, Robert, welcome, welcome.
Hey
Happy
guys.
Friday.
Hey, Matt. Hi, Craig. I was just thinking while you were doing the introduction that we
Yes.
have video proof of this, that I was doing this way before Trump was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
guys know
he was doing this.
Do
oh,
you think he'd
and
agree with you on that, or you think
no, no,
he'd
no,
say he did
no,
it
no.
first?
Craig already showed us the differences in the two, though.
Yeah.
And there can be a lot of things said about the difference between what you did and what I just shared that Trump is doing, but we're not going to go there. We're going to let your imagination
Uh,
go there.
there you go.
Well, that's all, that's what kind of what also this is about is imagination. I mean,
Yes,
we
always,
are
always, always.
imaginators.
I mean,
So
I
what's
could be
up?
imagining the two of you right now. I could be dreaming. I don't know
Yeah,
that.
We're in the matrix, right?
yeah. I
Yeah,
think
take it a step
so.
further. I'm
Hey,
dreaming in a machine.
I got
So yeah,
something cool to throw out to you guys. We got a new
Okay.
pope.
I saw that.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
here's a couple of quick things. I had a good conversation with my family. I'll call them family, not friends or people that I work with in Hungary. Shandor and Judith Nestor. And so we were talking about all the new stuff of where their focus should be in the future. And it's funny because you guys know that I always just bring it back to a story and
Hmm.
telling them that if we focus on making people feel better, moving forward, that we can accumulate this stuff. So, you know, I wanted to bring up that I just had this thing and I shared it with them and they were just like stunned when I said it because you guys know that I love stories. And it's so when I find out who this new guy is, I did a lot of research on him. I just love finding out about people's success stories. And the very first thing that I heard from everyone was like he was very, very weird in how nice and kind he was to people. So his brothers came out and would always go, listen, if people tease you and pick on you, you got to teach them a lesson. And he's going, well, that's their problem, not mine. And my goal is to love them. Now, this is when he was young. Okay. So they said everyone always thought he was weird because he was always nice and he was always, polite and he was always going the extra mile for people. And then it gets in middle school and high school. And he says now his brothers are also making fun of him because this is just the way he is. He volunteers for everything. He's always helping people. He's always being nice to everyone. And he goes, I seen interviews with his two brothers, and they were going, when this happened, no one's going to believe this story, but I have a whole high school that can prove this. He said, my brother and me and everyone in school called him Pope Bob.
At that early age.
And he said the reason that we did is because he was so nice to people and just did it in his normal, authentic self that it kept getting more that way. Every grade, it got more that way. He gave more, he was more kind. And he said, Me and my brother have said this around friends, joking and poking fun at him, going, "What are you trying to be? Are you trying to be a pope someday?"
Hey,
And then, so I'm listening to these stories, and the same thing that his professors at Illinois and his classmates in college, and they're all just going, "This guy is so bizarre. How kind he is that you just feel better being around him." So now we go into him becoming the Pope, and he's a 5,000 to 1 shot. No one believes that he's going to do it. He's not on anyone's radar. And it was American, the very first American. So I guess James Cramer yesterday, that does all the stock projections. I guess he got up yesterday and he says, one thing I can guarantee you, we're not ever going to get an American president. How would you like to
or
say
American
that?
Pope.
And you project stocks and people go, okay,
Well,
Mr.
that's the running joke about Kramer is that he predicts something and then the opposite happens. So it's like
Yeah,
if he predicts that Tesla stock's going to go down, then buy Tesla stock 'cause it's
yeah.
probably going to go up. So
and so and so he becomes a pope from America, which everyone said would never, ever, ever happen. And they always say that when the pope gets elected, that he's also usually in his late 70s. The reason that it's late 70s, early 80s is there's just this concept that you're a little wiser when you're older and you're not going to be around for a lot of years. Pope Bob is 69, and so it's the youngest pope. Isn't this crazy? Never could be an American. And then I said this to Judith and Shandor, and telling them the story that I just shared with you guys. And I said, so all these things that can happen, and when the Cardinals all get locked in, 133, it's the fastest they've ever elected a pope.
Yeah.
And to think that 133 people, when asked to write a name down, went, that Bob guy is one of the nicest fucking people I know.
Yeah. And usually now if you go by the movie Conclave, because
I can't
I
wait to
thought
watch it now.
oh,
Yeah.
you have to. You
it's
know
funny
what?
because
Especially in
apparently he
this.
watched it the night or before or after he became Pope because his
Yeah.
brother did an interview or something and his brother was like asking him if he had seen the movie Conclave to prepare and he's like, I just watched it last night and it's like crazy
Oh
to
my God.
imagine
Oh, it's
watching a movie like that while you're becoming Pope. It's kind of like a
That would
crazy
well,
whirlwind
that would be
experience.
incredible.
talk about timing on that movie. I mean, the fact that it just came out and it was part of the Academy Awards recently, and honestly, the performances are incredible. But it's interesting because of the timing. Now, people who watch that, all right, it maybe not exactly accurate, but
Never.
at least
But
it gives you an
yeah.
idea of what goes on behind closed doors and how secretive this whole thing is. And I mean, they say that the first ballot is kind of the feeler ballot for who is the who's on the radar to be pope. And the fact that they did it in, I think they said either 3 or 4 ballots.
Three.
3. I mean, that is incredible. And then when you
Yeah.
watch that and you compare that with the movie and how they go about everything, it's like it gives you a better insight as
Sure.
to how
I
this
I
whole
I
process is.
I definitely will watch it. So I was sharing this with my wife this morning that I thought was very interesting. Okay. So now with that all said, you know, there's what, 8 billion people on the planet? There's a group on that planet that just are not believers. And some of them might call themselves atheists. Some people might call themselves agnostic. Some people might call themselves, I could give a shit one way or another. And other people call themselves Jewish. Other people call themselves Catholics. Other people call themselves Baptist, Protestant, Mormon, Jehovah Witness, and 380,000 other names, right? what's hilarious is that the 1.5 billion people that are Catholics, is when I hear crazy stuff about people's feelings toward another belief, whether it's belief or non-belief. Here's what I hear a lot about that is people go that they're just very judgmental people. They're very judgmental, which then makes them very hypocritical because they don't do what their belief says they should do. But yet everyone on the planet for the last couple of weeks of one pope dying, Easter happening, Passover, and then a new pope, is that there pretty much was 6.5 billion people that went, this is fucked up. Who cares? Why is this still a deal? Who gives a shit? Why are they dressed up that way? I don't understand the black and white. I was going like, the people that are non-believers of another belief say that they don't like that belief because they're judgmental, because you don't believe like them, but you're judgmental because you don't believe like them.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just a
why,
cycle.
let me say this
you know?
one statement, then I want you guys to add on it. Why is it the very first thought is for, and I did this with a couple of people that I know that are Catholics, but they don't tell anybody they're Catholics because we know why, right? So I reach out to these people and they go, hey, I'm very, very happy for you that you got a new pope. And they wrote me back and go, you're the only person that sent me the message. And it just makes you more of who you already are. And I'm going like, I could be a Dallas Cowboy fan, but still know some people that are Kansas City fans.
Right.
Or Philadelphia fans. And when they win the Super Bowl, where's humanity that doesn't reach out to your buddies that are Philly fans and going, fuck, congratulations, man. That must feel fucking awesome. Your team's going to come back. You guys are going to do a parade for them. Everyone now gets championship on their shirts. I mean, fuck, this is awesome. Congratulations for you guys. No, it's my team. My team doesn't have anything to celebrate, so fuck these guys. And I just thought I would share that with you guys because I was just basically explaining to Shandor, Judith, and Esther that, it doesn't make a difference what you're doing. If you're not making people feel good, they're not going to follow you. And
100.
And so the one thing that I wanted to say is just open that up to you guys because I am so ecstatic and proud as a father because of Matthew. We go get to spend some time with them. I go get to spend some time with them and his incredible wife. And then they gave me a gift that's one of the top 5 gifts I've ever gotten in my life is I went to this high-tech clinic and got to watch Ezra on a big screen.
I got his pictures right here.
Through the ultrasound. And she's talking all about him, and you could hear his heartbeat that they put in a stuffed animal.
Let me focus in on that, Matt. There it is.
Don't worry, we have better quality ones.
And I'm sure you're going to post them up on your pages. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm not.
Okay. There he is.
Right.
Wow.
But
crazy.
Yeah,
he's got his mom's
all
lips.
his bones, and I think that some of you.
There's one of them giving the middle finger. I don't know why. I think he was done with the whole
think of pulling me out of this comfortable place.
You guys should have saw like Hannah and the nurse that was doing it. It's like move over this way, move over that way, slide this way, and he's just inside her womb, so he's just like woo.
And there was a couple of times where Hannah was moving a lot to get him to get his hands off his face, and he's like his eyes all got squinched up,
He
He's
got
like,
pissed.
what are you doing? You know what
It's
I
so
mean?
crazy to see that, right? Like in
Trying to
real
get some
time.
nap
Like the
here. So
technology of that is insane.
yeah, so we
So
got videos of it, as
Oh,
well,
neat.
of him doing this and measuring his femur to know that he's right around, 4 pounds, 12 ounces. But, as a 63-year-old, you know what I mean? That was one of the most incredible experiences of my life because,
as a 33-year-old, that was also one of my most
I, I I got, I got, I got introduced to somebody before I get introduced to somebody.
yeah.
And that's technology
And he can like
all
hear
right
you and
there. You know what I
everything.
mean?
Oh,
It's
I'm
Yeah.
like,
sure. Well, was it? There was a whole big thing about playing classical music right in the area of where the baby is, so that it has a
I've
relaxed.
been doing Metallica.
Oh,
I don't
I
there
know
we
if
go.
that's got no,
So
I haven't.
has the baby started doing this
but
in the
but
I think that's why he
inside?
was so rock and roll in there.
yeah,
No, I'm
from
not
from
having him listen to
Now, if he
Metallica.
pulls out a guitar from
yeah.
there,
When we
Hey,
when we walked into this place, to how they treated us, to sitting in a room that was so comfortable, it even had a nice aroma in there. The way they treated the whole family and the way the girl talked us through it, and then we heard his heartbeat, and she recorded it on something that we could put in a stuffed animal and take
yeah, his
home with
heartbeat.
us.
We hear it from time to time.
And
oh my gosh.
I'm going like, now these people understand how to create an experience.
Exactly. And then what's their next step? Because it's funny, they got the upsells and downs. It's still a business, but it's a business of incredible experiences. So like once you leave there, right? And I'll look it up. Let me figure out what it's called because there might be other people watching that want to do it.
I never even thought about that. Give him a little shout out. But just
Yeah,
like Matt said,
probably on this.
and so they give Hannah and Matt a bunch of gifts, newbie diapers
New
and
Life Ultrasound.
what is it? Give them a shout
New
out
Life Ultrasound.
out of Temecula, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they have them all over the country. It's up and coming like big business. So.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple of them here in Cathedral City, San
Good.
Diego, Rancho
Yeah,
Bernardo
yeah.
area.
And they basically here's the crazy thing, guys. If you
It
want to hear
wasn't it
how
in Marietta, to give them credit.
yeah, the
Yeah.
one that we went to is in Marietta.
I'm
But
I'm looking it up right now.
yeah, it's really really cool because even in the very beginning, like this was the first place we went when we first knew Hannah was pregnant. Because you can go there and get an ultrasound, I think, like when you're like 8 or 10 weeks, 12,
Wow.
very early, right? Like gummy bear level, right? And so when if any of you guys have seen the video that we
I mean,
first
a gummy
posted,
bear to pineapple now. We're at pineapple now, right?
yeah, I think he's actually at zucchini. I forget. No, he's bigger than a zucchini.
It's not as long,
Uh,
not as long as it's not an eggplant, I guess.
Right. He might actually be
pear.
an eggplant now that you say that. But
He's a
no,
boy.
so like
Here's a boy.
here's another aspect. Exactly. Here's another aspect of it that's really, really cool. When you go there, they have this blood test now where you can be 6 weeks pregnant and have the mother's blood drawn and within 48 hours know the sex of the baby
Wow.
with 99.9% accuracy.
Because it changes the mother's blood. That's
'Cause it
nuts.
changes. Yeah.
Oh, whether it's a boy or see now you're talking to somebody
Exactly.
here who at this point in my life will never have a child. Unless I have had one vicariously years ago that I don't know about. But
I keep
it's an
telling you.
experience.
I keep telling you, Craig, those unsigned Father Day cards you get.
Shh,
It's coming
Mother's
up
Day's
again.
coming, man. It's almost here. I need to get by June 14th or whatever day that is.
Well, it's funny too because we were talking about that, and it's like there's a very good chance that he comes before Father's Day or on Father's Day. His due date is June 19th, so it's in that window that like I could either be celebrating my first Father's Day or not this year. So
Well, June
pretty
15th, I
exciting.
think, is Father's Day this year.
Yeah, so
Usually
you
it's
just have to be
the third Sunday of June.
you just have to be like 4 or 5 days early. Like that happens all the time.
And Sunday's coming up, so happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Absolutely. Happy Mother's
Yeah,
Day, moms.
Hannah's a little, it's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna have to celebrate next year, Hannah. You know what I mean? Mother's Day is in May. He's coming in June.
Not
It's
quite
my
there
time to shine.
yet. You don't get the
No,
title
it's
yet
it's
until
so
it
funny
happens,
because
right?
she's the one going through. Yeah, she's going through all of the heavy lifting now. So
Right.
since
Right.
that's the case, it's almost like how do I celebrate her,
Yeah.
for Mother's Day
Well, I
anyway.
think you can
So
Well, they
celebrate
got
her
they got a new
regardless of
thing.
whether it's Mother's Day.
Yeah, they got a new thing now that I I was able to escape from like the Vietnam War. I'm just the wrong age, right? It's not my fault, right? But I notice a lot of people nowadays. My wife consistently tells me about, hey, did you hear about this lady's push present? And I'm like, push present? Yeah, she got a new car because she pushed out a baby. So now
Mhm.
there's uh push presents. And I'm going like, I've been buying you push presents since I met you.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because it's like now that we've already decided on what that is for us. Like it was such an obvious for her because when we initially moved and then we knew that she was pregnant, it was like right after we moved to wine country in Southern California, which we love wine. That's like predominantly one of the reasons we moved to the area because we just like it. And so then she can't drink because she's pregnant, right? So I'm quitting with
Oh,
her.
torture.
Quitting as in, like I drink in social settings. I don't
Right.
drink. My drinking partner is
Right.
gone. So right now. So
It's
that
like putting on
happens.
it's like putting on baby weight.
And
But
even
exact
and
but
even after June, she'll
for
be out of
her,
commission for a little while too.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting too because it's like there's all the moms, we live on a block and we went to this block party with all the other families here, and it's like all the moms are wine drinkers and stuff and have their young kids and everything like that. So they're like, the moment he's born, man, throw him in a baby Bjorn. We'll drive down to the wineries. We'll all hang out with the kids and stuff, and that just seems normal, right? So that will be fun. I'm excited to get back to that. But one of the really, really funny things about it was that there's this tattoo artist, and she did all these tattoos, right, on me. Not these ones, but these ones and a couple you can't see, but just mostly these ones. You have to book her like 4 or 5 months out, right?
Wow.
Um, she owns her own shop. Very like she's a good friend of ours at this point. Yessie. I'll figure out. Just look up Yessie tattoos on Instagram. But Hannah had a tattoo booking for that. She was gonna go get a tattoo. So she booked it 3 or 4 months ago. And then just as the week before she would have had to go in for the tattoo is when we found out she was pregnant. And so she had to cancel that. So that's her push present. Her push present, she wants more tattoos. It's like great, now she can get them again. So
Oh boy. Okay, I
yeah,
found.
big
Let's
old
see.
back piece or something. It's like have you guys seen Ben Affleck's big back piece tattoo? The Phoenix. It's insane.
No.
No.
But anyway,
Although I
I'm
will
super excited
say,
for it.
I do like tattoo art. I got to give them credit. In fact, Sue has some tattoos, and so
What?
yeah, she's got some tattoos on her back.
I would have never guessed.
You don't. And then it was like the first time that she wore a
Come
top,
on. Like, did
a
you see
strap
me
with a
looking
strapped
looking
top,
for
I
the
went,
right
oh.
story to say? You're going, so she's got them on her
I
back.
knew.
Now, how can I say where I see this without being obvious?
Fine.
Well,
I see his eyes went up to the right.
it's funny. I was gonna say because like
he was,
for
he
you
was
guys, it's
wearing,
almost like a. Well, I was gonna say it's almost like back then. A lot of people would get tattoos in places that you'd be able to hide them because like you couldn't work. Like in most
Oh
places, if you had
yeah.
tattoos like me, they would never hire you. But now it's like you can't go to anywhere and not see people like me. I'm
I used
everywhere.
to work at Disneyland, and they had a couple of guys who had been there for a while, and they had tattoos. The only thing is they could do 2 rides, and that was it. And they were
The
legacy
pirates.
people. So, no, actually, the railroad, Disneyland Railroad, and the Mark Twain steamboat. because those were required to wear long sleeves.
Oh,
And these were
okay.
guys that were in the army or in the armed services. Let me say that. That's a little better. And they had tattoos on their arms, but they wanted to work at Disney. And I think they were actually, they've been around a long time. I obviously don't know if they're still there or not. My guess is they've retired, but they were there in the early days of Disney. And it was then that as long as you kept them covered, wherever it was you were fine. Now you see them at the park as long as they're discreet, of course. Now they
Yeah.
won't hire anybody with a tattoo on their neck, but if it's on your forearm and it's nice, okay. I mean, it's not show. Now maybe correct me if I'm wrong if you're a Disney viewer. I just want to make sure, but let's just say that they're not. Well, it's like facial hair.
Right.
You could not have a beard. You could not have hair that went down below your earlobes. And now they allow for some of that, as long as it's neat and trim, and especially since there's some people that are in the new Galaxy,
The Star Wars stuff.
the Star Wars stuff. Yeah, Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, they just throw
Some of the
helmets on those people.
Well, that, and there are some people that are very light on the beard that walk around that now work there, as long as it's trim. So they are allowing that. But
Can you
when I
imagine-
worked there, unless you were there when Disney came in, and the only thing you could really have was a mustache, you couldn't grow it. Now there was one guy when I left the park, and we're talking, like mid or late '80s. When I left the park, there was only one guy who had a mustache. He was a trumpet player in the band. And the only reason why he was able to keep his mustache is because Disney grandfathered that everybody who's got their extra facial hair at this point in time keeps it. The minute you shave it off, you can't grow it back. After that,
a little bit of grandfathering.
It's
Literally.
like
Exactly.
it's insane the loopholes that
Oh, yeah.
to make up things. It's
and he retired from Disney with that mustache, as far as I remember.
power
So,
to him. Yeah.
yeah.
He's not letting the mustache go.
No.
It's here to stay. You know, he's standing for more than just the mustache, some would say. So he's standing for the freedom of all of us.
That's some of the cool stuff that happened to us. It was fun hanging out with Matt and Hannah and talking about our future and the stuff that is going to happen. But I still want to get you guys, man. Matt went over 32 million views on his YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
Really?
Matt.
Crazy, man. It's just like,
Yeah, what is your current
I'm watching it,
viewage?
man.
Well, I enjoy it. Okay, fine. Every now and then I scroll through my reels and it's like, ooh, there's a shark or there's a kraken looking being that is below the water being looked at or a dragon.
I like the owl on Hollywood Boulevard. I don't know if
That was me.
that was you. You did that?
I created that. Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I was gonna say I would recommend he animate it and post it. You know what I mean?
it was
You know
like,
what? I think I'll do that. Yeah.
Imagine making art, guys. Imagine coming up with
Whose
ideas.
star was there? They were on.
It just says Hollywood on it. So there's no star. That's what was so interesting. Is,
Who?
Who? Oh. Well, I had somebody post that they were not in Hollywood, but Hollywood.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my god! I don't get Craig too often. That was like it went over his head a couple times. I got the book out with the crayons and did a little more coloring. Craig, I got it.
Touche.
Yeah, no, I do think that he should post that. And that's the thing that I'm like trying to push people to do is like people normally only listen to certain things, right? Like so I said to people that I would be, and I still think that this will exist, and I don't care what you guys say. If you don't think this will be the case, I just think it will be the case. That I'll be seen as a pariah before I'm seen as any form of a messiah in this AI stuff. That the way that I go
posted
about
that
it,
stuff, and that was interesting, Matt, in our little Telegram chat with just the three of us.
Totally,
because I go about it in a very different way mentally than like a lot of these other people do. And because I'm not only like, yes, this is the way, you can go this way, but then I'm like paving the way. And then on top of paving the way, every single time I have people say shit about me or whatever it may be, there's like a certain aspect of that where it's just like I'm continuously proving people wrong, but
Yeah.
it's not from a place of like, see, I stuck it to you. It's from a place of like, I don't know. I just doing the do, and I'm trying to
Hey, when
inspire
you
people to do the same.
when
But like,
anybody, Matt,
people are scared too.
when anybody finds their thing, I mean, that is the thing that you guys know I've been preaching forever. Maybe that's why people don't get me. I can make a whole story out of Pope Bob, and because I love celebrating other people's success. I love celebrating that people can be very, very unique and find their authenticity, and then all of a sudden goes how everyone watches them and then goes, how the fuck did that happen? You know what I mean? I think that this new Pope story and someone said it just I heard another person say this, and no one ever puts stuff like into ways where you go, holy shit. So very, very simple part, we watched Donald Trump get elected twice. Okay. We've already done a little bit of research because we talk about this stuff that about 179 million people out of 330 that are actually eligible voters. And even though the second time he won was a little over 70 million, I don't know the exact number. Isn't it obvious to say that, well, 70 million voted for him? That means 100 and what? 100 million didn't? All right. So, you look at that, and even with him having a 50-50 poll, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt and just say 70 million people in the United States is supporting this dude. So every kid in the United States could have a dream or imagination of being the next president of the United States. Pretty interesting thought for young kids. Pope Leo the 14th has 1.5 billion representatives. Who would say that someone would have a bigger influence than the president of the United States? See what I mean? It's like all of a sudden, even if it was China or even if it was Russia or India, there's still 50% of the eligible voters that are like, I don't like that fucking guy. I don't like anything he's doing.
Well, it's because you give them choice.
1.5
Like they don't get to choose
billion
their pope.
people. There's 1.5 billion people that watched a new American Pope and going, wow, things are still possible.
It's like, yeah, ignore my ignorance. What does the Pope do in modern times? What does he do?
He's like the Queen. He's like a Queen of Britain, or the King of Britain. And in certain religions, Matt, if you go back in times, some of the kings and queens and empires and emperors and
Yeah,
stuff
I know. That's what I'm
always
interested
leaned
in.
always leaned on the person that had the highest level of godlike. You know what I mean? That this was a person that seemed to be, by everyone's view and feelings, that this person is pretty much the closest person to God that's walking on this planet.
Yeah.
So the significance of a pope is that they sort of are the ones that make the final decision on which way the direction of the belief is going. And so they got like, I didn't know this, 80% of the new cardinals were appointed by Pope Francis. So, so if you go from just an altar boy or an altar girl and you're working your way up, the ranks, just like military, just like politics or anything in the world, you go through the steps, the priest, the bishop, and then you go to the cardinal aspect, And then all of a sudden the Cardinals are the ones that make the decision, through secret ballot to figure out exactly who the Pope is, which is
Right.
going to be the leader of 1.5 billion people for the next
Yeah.
amount of years.
It's interesting because like in my lifetime, there's been two popes, right? The
I would
first
say
one,
three.
Pope Benedict. Yeah, that's true. Um, Pope John, wasn't that the one that John the Third or something like that? When I was
Or John
younger,
Paul. Was it John
John
Paul?
Paul. Yeah, John
That's what
Paul
I thought.
was when I was younger, and then it was Pope Benedict after that, and then it was Pope Francis after that, after Benedict stepped down, and then now we have Pope Leo, right?
Right.
Am I
Hmm.
correct?
Yep.
I think
So
so.
in my lifetime, I have not. I've seen like the Pope be elected multiple times, which I know is rare, like
Yeah.
sometimes. But at the same time, I have also seen like the Catholic Church and the papacy in general like lose pretty much all power to a certain extent because like it's interesting because when you think of history, and I love the history aspects of it, if
Yeah.
you really want to know about the Catholic Church, they elected Pope Borgia. Go back and look at Pope Borgia. But in general, I think when I saw Pope Leo, I'm like, eh, from everything I had understood about him too, it reminded me a lot of the movie Conclave. For not, I won't spoil it, but like it's interesting when someone gets elected that fast, and also like what people say about them. I just came from like when Pope Benedict stepped down after all of the
Would
abuse
he like the
scandals.
first to do that too? Even
One of. It's been a long time. Yeah.
yeah.
So like he stepped down because obviously John Paul was just letting like the child molesters run rampant, you know what I mean? And Benedict kind of just didn't do anything about it either. So since that all came out and stuff, I've seen in my generation like a massive flip on the views of the church,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's
Yeah.
interesting because the same thing happened when the Queen passed away. I saw a large group of people that were older in England that were crying, that were upset that the Queen was gone and that she was passing away. And it's like, what are we going to do next without the Queen? And then you had the whole entire younger generation cheering for the fact that she was dead.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
And
Yeah.
it's like those shifts and changes. So I think it's really really good to see them continue at least electing people that I think at least are good of heart. Because if I had to say anything about the understanding, and I didn't know a lot about Pope Francis, but my understanding from him is like there's a lot of issues that the Catholic Church had and still does have that he fought head on, that in a lot of ways they just wanted to ignore, that modernized certain elements of the church. But at the same time, a large amount of that stuff is like now going in a different direction. So we'll see how much heart is really there. Because
Oh
I
yeah.
Pope Francis was one of those guys that's like you could be a homosexual and still go to heaven. God still accepts you. You can be an atheist and go to heaven. You can not believe in God and still go to heaven as long as you're a good person. And when he said those things, it was like the Catholics really, not everybody, but a decent amount of them
Yeah.
were like, holy shit, like this is, no
Well,
pun
he was the
intended.
one.
But
He was the one that publicly also apologized and even went to where the pedophile stuff was happening the worst and apologized
well, that's what needed to be done. But
for
like
the
it,
Catholic Church and did
that's just the
it's
beginning.
like because no everybody else just wants to ignore it and not say it was a
That
problem.
was done, over with in the past.
Yeah,
Let's let it
let's
go.
not talk
But you
about
can't
the past.
hide something like
Yeah,
that. And yeah, I
all
agree.
the
I thought
stuff.
he was so transparent with
So just for me, like the
stuff.
reason I brought that up is like just for me, I saw that the new pope was elected, but like I watched this focus happen on the pope being elected, but I on the in the young sphere, it was like so the opposite. Like all the streamers I watched
But
were talking shit.
I
Everybody,
think I
you
I
know what I
think I
mean?
brought
About
this.
the fact that
Yeah,
like you said earlier, the fact that this still exists, the fact that we're still doing
right,
this, the fact that does anybody really listen to anything the Pope has to say anyway? Like, do
right.
the Catholics even listen to what the Pope has to say anyway? Like, there's just this large thought process. It's like not the world leaders don't listen. So like obviously that's not on the table like it used to be with kings and queens, right? So
Yeah, it used
it's
to be
really
they
weird.
would court the
I'll
church in
Because
approval
they
so
had
that they could,
power.
right, at that
Yeah.
time.
right.
Yeah.
I'll just say this to you, Matt, because I think we said this on one of the talks that we had last week. Is I just really truly believe if you look for positive, you find positive, you attract positive. And the thing that I was really blown away with is right after, because everyone was going there for Easter anyway. And so for the Pope to actually be able to give Easter service before he passed away. But after Easter, I didn't know about this thing called the Catholic Jamboree. And a Catholic Jamboree is where all the young people from the world go to the Vatican. So
Hmm.
after Easter, it
That
showed
I was
all
gonna
the
say that doesn't sound good. No, I'm just
right.
sorry.
But it sound like that there was like 300,000 young kids that were at this jubilee celebration for that belief.
Wow.
And one of the things that I would just say, Matt, is that you know if because I even wrote a thing that I'm going to talk about on the AMA tomorrow. But you guys will really find this really, really interesting. It's like when you think of most things, we're okay with people not having an interest. So I'm with Craig, Sue, Matt, Hannah, and we all go, hey, listen, why don't we go get some pho? Why don't we go get some Vietnamese noodles? And I can have any one of you four, including Terry, just go, I don't like pho. And do you realize
Yeah.
that the other five people go, oh, okay, no problem. We're going to pick something that everyone else likes. This does not happen with religion, beliefs, and politics.
Hmm.
What the fuck is wrong with people? Honestly, what is wrong with people if someone's got a new pope and a bunch of the young people that are celebrating? Why do people have to say, yeah, but their membership's dwindling? It's like, why
Hmm.
do they have to throw shade and shit toward people that are actually celebrating something they believe in?
Yeah, well, it's
It's
interesting
like,
to me.
why? Because
No,
if
I get
someone
it.
said
I
they
get
didn't
it.
like pho, you would
Is it
just go,
affecting them in any way? If
just
it's
go, no
not,
problem, no
yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
But if someone says they like a political person or if they like a certain religion, it's like, fuck you. Fuck you. There you got it. Fuck you. And it's
Yeah.
like, why is that the first reaction?
Yeah. Well, obviously,
Well,
like
that's part of the politics of
Us
today.
atheists and non-believers are becoming bigger than you guys every year. No, you're not even fucking close.
No.
You're not
yeah.
having 300,000 atheists showing up for the atheist meeting. It's just not happening
There is
because
no atheist meeting.
that's my point. My point, some people will get mad at me when I say this, is like I used to say this all the time with people that do riots and parades and activism. That's your personality. But if you went on every TV show, every radio show, every way that you could communicate, blogs, and say you're going to have a straight, married, white male parade, it ain't fucking nobody showing. We're
Yeah, but
gonna dedicate a day.
isn't that perpetrating the victim mentality that something is wrong? Like I think the reality is like when you say like I wish that there isn't one for me, you know what I mean? I think that's just a victim thought mentality. Like
No, it's that group of people
it's
don't
like
care about that shit.
yeah, but that there's a
I
group if
said you on
yeah,
that. Do you guys want to go to a NASCAR race? No, I'm
I
not
would go.
interested in NASCAR. There's no
That's
problem.
because I've been and they're fun in
There's no
person.
problem. But if I
Yes,
turned
they
around
are.
and said, hey, I'm not interested in this thought. It's like the whole reason that people, I think the only reason that people throw shade on it is they've never ever been taught that it would be neat to think about, how you could celebrate somebody else that believes that way.
Yeah. At Christmas time every year, I used to go out Christmas caroling with my friends. And here's a Jewish kid who knows as many songs as everybody else who's singing who are not Jewish. And
Right.
in fact, my brother, sister, and I, we used to go Christmas caroling in front of a local liquor store and raise money for UNICEF.
Yeah.
And it was fun. My philosophy has always been, how can I celebrate you? How can I help celebrate you?
Craig, you said that you have never had any children,
Correct.
but don't you do a run or a walk every year to raise money for someone who
Yes.
did?
Yes.
Why?
Absolutely. Because even though maybe I personally don't have a child associated with me, I still feel it's important, and it's important for them, meaning not just the child, but for my best friends to celebrate their family.
Well, you not only do the walk and the run, but don't you promote it on social media and raise
Yes, I
money?
do. Yeah,
Because I donate every
absolutely.
year. That's why I
Yes,
know
you
about it.
do. Yeah. And
And what did the
it's
child die from?
unfortunately, it was suicide.
And I'm like,
And
well, I think suicide is stupid. And I've never had a child that did suicide, nor do I know anyone that did it. So fuck them. See,
You
I,
can, yeah, you can
I
say
don't,
that if you want to. That
I
doesn't
don't
change
get that.
anything.
no, it
I
doesn't.
never
Yeah.
will get that.
And
Yeah,
that's,
that
yeah,
that's
it's
I think.
unfortunate.
Well, it's interesting because, like, I think to a certain extent, like, I get what you're saying and what you're pointing out, Dad. But in my thought process, like we were talking about a lot when I was here, like personal accountability is like such a huge aspect of, like, in my opinion, living a healthy life. It's like, is
Hmm.
this something I can fix? Is this my responsibility? Is this my thought that's causing me this distressful life that I have? You know what I mean? And do I feel like I'm a victim of something? You know what I mean? Like, I constantly need to have some sense of approval or recognition for something that's happened to me, something that has gone on in my life. The difficulty with life is the more that you ask for approval for those things, the more distance people tend to get from you.
So
And
true.
that's because
Absolutely.
So
that's
true.
I think that's because there's a reflection of pain in one another and we're unwilling to acknowledge it. It's like just walking by somebody and saying you're having a good day when, like, that's really not the case, right?
Right.
Like, there's this unacknowledgement of pain. And so I think the large part of the issue that young people have with religion and the Catholic Church in specific is the unacknowledgement of that pain. You know
But
what I mean?
but
So,
but
like, I
but
think,
no apology
yeah.
from the people, including the Pope, would be enough. Because there's some people that just love to enjoy pain.
Well, it's,
Hmm.
like, there's a certain aspect to it too, and I get their
That's the
point.
only
I'm
way
not
they
really
get
in this
value.
mindset anymore, but, like,
Yeah.
watching certain big streamers, and I'm talking people that get 80,000 live viewers watch the Pope get picked live. Some of these people are religious. They're looking at the Catholic Church and going, "Here's still to this day is this facade thing that we like to do that Jesus would have absolutely hated existing." You know
Right.
what I mean? And let's all acknowledge and let's all get all the jewelry out. Let's get the bands out. Let's get everybody out and let's all talk about how great this experience is, when we're all fully aware that the teachings, if you read through them in the way that Jesus perceived the world and thought of the world, is so polar the opposite.
Right.
So why do we continue to do that? Why do we? That's the pain that I think is one of the main issues, is that the more you lean into any forms of those teachings, the more you're going, why does this foundation exist to tell you to get something and relay how it's supposed to be, when the actual book that they're telling you to read tells you to do the opposite, to get that
Right.
connection personally, to do those
And
things
I and
personally,
I,
to
I
give
think
to
that
the
we're having
poor,
such a
and
good
it's not that Catholics don't give to the poor. They're one of the largest givers on planet Earth. So that aspect of it, I absolutely acknowledge and adore. But I think my mindset comes from that place where it's like, if this was really the way that it was supposed to be based off of what they're saying, this whole entire building kind of wouldn't exist.
But
So,
Matt, you're
Yes.
sort of, I
you know what I
love this
mean?
discussion and podcast, but if we switched it from that religious to political, you
Same
know what I
Okay.
thing.
mean? And so you got a whole group of people that just will not acknowledge or even want to talk to someone with an opposing view. It's like, no, it's like the deal is that to me it takes, and this is just my opinion, it takes more skill to try to find equal things that we like than ripping people apart for just their beliefs. Because
I
if
believe that that's 90% the internet.
if you talk to a majority of people and ask them why they did stuff,
Yeah.
we all agree that we have a tendency of jumping into the logical brain instead of just having the balls or the ovaries to just go, listen, the reason that I like this singer is because I like this singer. They make me feel good. But
Yeah.
they're a bad person. They're a fucking bad person. And you've seen me, Matt, over my entire life. It's like yesterday I was throwing shade at Bill Gates.
Yeah.
It's like he came out in 2005. I think Craig and Matt go, hey, he can throw shade sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Oh,
probably
yeah.
going, who's this guy? And I'm
Well,
going like,
Bill Gates is an enemy of some people now, even though he's
yeah. So he
helped
comes
cure
out in
and save children's
2005. He
lives.
comes
So
out in 2005 and starts a foundation, and a Gates Foundation. And again, like the Catholic Church, when you said this, has he given money away and helped people? He definitely has. But he came out in 2005 saying he's going to give 99% of his money away. And then now he's big in the news because he said he's going to do it again. It's like, come
yeah,
on. Just fucking don't get on shows and say you're making this pledge. You made the pledge. Now just fucking do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Just fucking do it. You know, anybody that looks for, I mean, this is Jesus teaching. He's like, bottom line, man, it's like, and all the people before him that the followers and believers put in a higher place of someone they could do their very best to be like, whether it's Moses and the Jewish religion or whatever it is. We all got this guy that, this person that we want to be like, like be like Allah or whatever, Some of you are getting pissed off because it could be Buddha. It could be anyone, right? But they always talk about, the true heart of giving is giving without expecting something back.
right.
Oh,
So-
you mean all of those mega churches?
Yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
God!
I'm
It's
gonna
like,
get
no, no,
on
I
some
need
route.
this so that I can
Right.
have my airplane so I can fly all over the United States and go to these huge events and get more money so that I can build my home.
Wait a minute. That's what Bernie Sanders just said. Did you hear that?
No.
There's a clip that's going all over the place yesterday where someone said to Bernie Sanders, is it really true that since you've been campaigning, you spent $211 million on personal jets? And he went off and he goes, if you're going to speak in front of 30,000 people and go from city to city, you don't expect me to wait in line in United, do you? He goes, this is necessary and I'm not apologizing for it.
Oh.
He goes, everybody does it. It's like, listen, not everybody does do it. Some people do wait in line at a commercial airline.
Oh yeah. I remember Pete Buttigieg says that he flies when he was the Secretary of Transportation, unless it was a specific event, he flies on a regular plane.
Yeah. That was funny that you said that about an evangelist that I 1000% agree with. It's
But I
like,
think that's why, if you wanted to see why people feel the way that they do about it, is
Oh,
at least
yeah.
the younger generation, is that they just feel like,
They see the hypocrisy of it.
yeah, the hypocrisy, and also like the people. There's always like you see the people that follow it and how great their lives are, and you go,
Yeah,
they're not
and
close
you
with
even
their
see that
children.
if
They're
we're
not
going to
close with
politics.
their spouse. They're not close with any
Yeah.
of these fucking people. Some people are. I'm not. You know what I mean? But like,
Matt,
because I think
do you
religion can
agree?
be a thing to connect people together. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not the
Matt,
way that. But I think it comes from a place of love and connection in that route. And when you add the financial incentive to anything, it's like you were saying with the, if the moment you add the financial incentive to things and human beings to it, so you said Bill Gates giving away all the money, right?
Yeah.
How?
How's
How
he
would he give
doing
it
it?
all
Yeah.
away?
He donates a lot of his money to his foundation.
Which does what?
And they distribute it from there to, I guess, various
And
organizations.
and
I'm just-
why? Yeah, and why?
Yeah. Okay.
Tax deduction.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, why didn't he?
Tax deduction.
No, it doesn't matter. This dude doesn't need money. So like, then you ask the why. Why would he? Well, why wouldn't he just give it to some big charity and call it a day?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right? Do you guys believe that humans are corrupt and bad?
Yes.
Do you believe immoral people or even moral people become immoral when finances get involved?
They
Or
can.
power or lust. There's so
So,
many.
so if you were to be
It's a base
person
emotion.
and you had to distribute money to help people, how many people do you think would show out of the woodworks saying, "Give me money and I'll help people," but you have no idea whether they're telling the truth or not? So you have to figure out a pathway to do this process of elimination, and that is going to take a long time. I think AI will speed it up. But I also think that he's giving away a lot of his money because AI is going to have to do that anyway. It's like if I do it now, so instead of saying I'm going to give it away over my lifetime, let's put an actual date on it. 2050, I think was his date, right? So what? It's 2025, 25 more years. 25 more years. I don't think that we'll be looking at things the same way anyway. So I don't think realistically like the pledge is the way that you think it is. I'm optimistic that kids won't be dying from malaria and shit in 25 years in general. So like there won't be money to donate to those things because we'll have cured them by then with artificial intelligence. But I fall in the realm of the world, and the internet is massively full of propaganda at this point, and artificial intelligence
Yes.
has made that even more
That
so the
video,
case.
that video that you put out, that
Yeah.
just like, you
So
can't believe anything.
Oh, the
right,
warning
yeah.
video? Yes.
Yeah, and what
Yeah.
what if I were to tell you that some of those clips are real? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So who are you to say which ones are real and what are not? That's where we're at right now. It's not going to get any worse than that. So like you have to be fully aware of the things that you're saying and the way that you think and how easy it is to have that hijacked, right? So if you're going,
I
Bill
agree.
Gates is a bad person, the Pope is a bad person, this and this and that, like really start thinking of why that is and see if that thought comes down to a personal thought of your own. If it doesn't reach to that depth, then odds are you probably shouldn't be speaking about it.
Great, Matt.
You know what I
Great.
mean? Like, so for me personally, the way that I feel about the Catholic Church and Christianity and that stuff in general is based off of my own personal experience and worldview with it, which has been not positive. You know what I mean? Not positive in my personal experience. I haven't had all of my positive spiritual experiences that I've had are not connected to Christianity in any way. And
Right.
they're full of love and understanding and care, not judgment.
Yeah.
So if there's a system that you're trying to give me that has a requirement of judgment, I'm just going to be dismissive
Yeah.
because that's not
Right.
that's not what I experience personally. So I
Yeah.
always used to have people say, you just haven't experienced God yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
what's
why you're not
God to
Christian.
them?
That's
What's
why you're
God
not
to
Christian,
you?
because you
And
haven't
what's God to
experienced
somebody
God yet.
else?
Yeah.
See,
And then I
that's
finally do experience what I presume is God. We'll put that label on it.
right.
And it was nothing to do with Christianity.
Right.
Yeah, that's why you
So
see, what is it? The science of
I'm not
getting,
going to
not
attach
science.
it to Christianity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just not my default. My default is not to go Jesus and sin and Catholicism and the Pope and all this stuff. My brain
Oh,
just
you can.
doesn't do that. But that's
Yeah.
because I've personally gone down that path and gone, I don't think Jesus would really approve of you guys very much, right? I've read the book
Yeah.
that you all are talking about,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, I don't think Jesus would approve of all of these things. So I can take teachings from Jesus because I'm not following Jesus,
Right. That's
Yeah.
powerful.
See,
right? And
that's your source. talking to you. And
Yeah,
that's
and I
where
have
I
this thing
agree
that I
with
say
Abraham
now.
Hicks when she starts talking about the spiritual law of attraction. She she mentions or brings up God, but then she also brings up source, because what exactly what you just shared, Matt. Some people believe that Jesus, God, Buddha, Hindu gods and goddesses, whatever, the sun, the earth, the sky, they have their own significance, but that's to the individual themselves. But what is it actually to, if you're going to say a collective? I like the word source
Yeah.
or heart, because
I
it's
love it.
what is
I just love the word energy. It's like,
that's okay.
Yeah,
And
whatever it
yeah,
needs to be.
Mel
Like
Robbins is talking about that.
yeah,
you
energy
know,
and imagination. And again, I would ask for everybody to do what Matt said. I remember the first time someone challenged me and they go, I don't need an answer. I just need you to ponder this. That's all I need you to do. I said, okay. He goes, I would like you to just ponder your original idea. What is an original thought or an original idea that you truly believe just came from you? And it's like, can I get back to you? Yeah.
And in some cases, we've talked about this before, that is scary unto itself, because
Totally.
why did that thought come into my head?
Yeah.
You
And
know,
then
whether it's
the other
good or
part was
bad, where did that come from? But obviously it's there.
right. So then when you start pondering whether or not you've ever in your life had an original idea, the one group of people that say that they have will believe this next statement that I say. Once you came up with that original idea or thought, did you ever hear it again from somebody else? And the answer is always yes. So then, if a person is trying to understand energy in the universe, it's like my thought has always been if it's time for awareness to get to a level where the next thing that humanity is supposed to do happens, the universe is not giving that original concept creation and idea to just one person because that person could be lazy and drop the fucking ball.
Well, I think it's a lack of it possibly could be, and I've pondered this myself since you said ponder, but like I've pondered this myself. It could just be a lack of understanding of the human experience or hijacking of the human experience. Because the more I
Both.
dive into like reading, certain philosophies and everything about why we're here, what we're here doing, and stuff like that, I think it always comes down to this certain aspect of like communal. Um, there's this communal aspect to humans that exists, and you could say if you wanted to go the evolution route, you could say we're mammals, so like mammals orcas do that, monkeys do that, they all do that. But if you wanted to go more ethereal with it, more spiritual with it, you could say that the overarching connection that humans have is love, right?
Yeah.
And thought and imagination. Those are things that we don't see a lot in animals. Like you can see love in animals, obviously, but it's a
Right.
different kind of love. There's almost like an instinct. And that's not that that isn't in humans, but I think humans connect with their children in a different way,
Yeah. Oh,
like
totally.
obviously.
Totally.
So you could take it to that spiritual route. But I think the issue comes down to the individuality aspect of it. I think in a lot of ways, us as human beings try to find how we're unique, individuals, special, all of these things in ourselves to give ourselves self meaning because we don't want to be a cog in the machine when the reality is that your active searching to not be a cog in the machine in that way is actually why you're in so much pain and misery. It's
Yeah.
because in my opinion, you're trying to become this individual and you need to become part of a community. You need to become
Yeah.
part of a imagination, a part of a group of people that think similarly to you. And that has to be love based, right?
Yeah.
So you can even
Totally.
go back to like Jesus, the 12 disciples. You could do any of those people that have impacted humanity and changed humanity. And it always comes down to that same factor. Like they're not just walking around having a conversation with God and dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
why would they need to
some
share it?
people are
Why
called
would there
to
be the push there to share it? Why would be the push there to help other people connect with it and understand it? Now that aspect might come to it, but then there's this whole human aspect of hijacking it and going, here's all these guidelines and things that you have to accomplish to have that. You
And
can't
that's
just
the
have
plus
it.
and the negative of what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
You're
Because,
not allowed to
yes,
just
what
have
you
that.
can say that may be great for your community may not be great for the other community. But to be a part of that other community because you don't fit into this community, you're going to get hijacked to be thinking about this other process.
Right.
And so it's a balancing act, is what it is.
that indoctrination part of it.
Bingo.
It's where the one thing that I think makes me believe that for that reason I'm better than you, whether it's my politics or what fucking school I went to. I always found that the most fascinating thing in my deal is, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Are you kidding me? I'm putting a bumblebee on my face and I'm going to the college football game. Well, what do you do when football's over? There's fucking basketball. What the fuck's wrong with you? Well, what if basketball's open? There's baseball. What are you talking about? And so there's this whole group of people now because of the new Pope Leo the 14th, is that he went to Villanova or whatever it is,
Villanova.
Villanova. And so, I see posts all over the internet and on social media and even on the news this morning where it's like, how many colleges have a national championship and a pope? It is like,
Where do they come up with some of this
it's
stuff?
like, damn, we're proud that one of the people that went to our school is now the Pope. It's like,
Well, I feel like, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I love
yeah.
stuff like that. That's the part of humanity that I really love. The part that I'd really like to get rid of is I love competition. I think competitiveness is ingrained in us as human beings,
Oh
but I
yeah.
think it's been hijacked for individuality. So we're no longer competing against each other and racing to the moon. We're now just competing with each other in stupid bullshit, you
Yeah.
know? And so like that's now where it lies instead. And it's like, how do we move kind of that
Beyond
back
that.
into the same spot, right? And I think in a lot of ways, it becomes very, very difficult. It's not a discussion that I rarely could have. I don't have an idea of how to fix
I
it.
know why we're doing this
Um,
podcast is all three of us pull incredible ideas and opinions
I
out of
just
each other.
yes, I just know
Exactly.
that the more that you think for yourself, the more that you think about why you feel the way that you do or whatever it may be, it's like, man, why when every time this happens or when religion gets brought up, I feel this way about it?
Yeah, trigger.
Uh-huh.
Why do I
Total
feel this way
trigger.
about it? You know what I mean? Why when
Total trigger.
something comes up and happens? Because, in my personal experience, I'm currently working with my older brother and his family and their business, helping them build out the online aspect of that business. And they are a Christian-based company. Like my older brother and his wife live their lives by Christian values. They do all this stuff, right? And it's important to them.
Yeah.
So younger Matt, stupid idiot Matt, um, would try to debate
But
them and say
evolving, Matt.
all of these reasons. And new Matt, I don't even sit there and go, like, when I describe my own experience, I don't need to say it's ethereal or any of these things. I just call it God because I'm communicating with people that
Yeah.
understand in that route.
Exactly.
So there's a difference in mentality when you start thinking in your own way, where you start going, okay, if I want to have a conversation about this stuff, it probably doesn't benefit me to go this route with it because that's not how I like to be treated. Now, I'm also learning on the other end of it because as much as I love and care about my family, they might be a little open now in the thought process that I might be open to Christianity. So now I'm gonna have to have a conversation where it's like, no, I'm really not. I'm not. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I'm sorry. It, and I don't have to be an ass about it or anything anymore.
No.
Oh no,
No.
Um,
absolutely.
the easy way that I can say it that I feel like a lot of Christians do understand and immediately you shouldn't get upset if you're not like trying to God me or something like that, because I'm not trying to out God you or
Well,
something.
again,
But
why
the
are
saying of,
people so judgmental? Why are so, like, again, I just love using that
well, they
analogy.
think you're trying to be better than them, and the reality is that I'm
Yeah.
just trying to explain
Hmm.
it. So I just say to people, and I said this to you, Dad, when you were here, but it's like, no, I'm sorry, like your God is just not big enough for me. And it's like, you could take offense to that and say, well, what do you mean by that? My God's all seeing, all knowing. What I mean by that is that there's certain elements in my brain that I want answers to and I've gotten that I just cannot get from Christianity because it's not ever evolving in that way anymore. So I have to let go of the old teachings and go, okay, I love science. I love space. I like the idea that there's gas giant planets that stop us from getting hit by meteors and asteroids. That may be why they exist, but I think that God could have came up with other ways if he wanted to just not have asteroids hit the planet. So that science aspect of my mind always used to mess with religion for me. Because I'm
Oh,
like,
there.
why build a gas planet to get rid of asteroids? Why not just not have asteroids? That's what I would have done. So then it forced me to look at religion and go, maybe this just isn't big enough for the way that I think about it. The reason that gas planets exist and the reason that asteroids exist is because God does not care about gas giants and meteors. He didn't put them there. He didn't design it that way. It came from a
Hmm.
place of growth, love, and all of those things. And I believe that that overarching is what, if you want to call it, God is about. So yeah, did the planet exist from an energy called love that stops the asteroids from hitting so love can grow on a planet in the right way? Possibly. That could be the reason. But I don't think that he naturally designed all of these things in the way that you might think he did,
I love
right?
your
Like,
answer.
or
That's
she, or
again goes
whatever.
back to that goes back to being raised and how you were raised and the beliefs of your parents and the people who came before
Well,
them.
my dad does somewhat believe in Christianity, and I did grow up with teachings of Jesus and stuff like
Right.
that. So there's
And
not.
I'm not discounting that because I want to
Mhm.
say I was raised Jewish. But
Right.
now, is my mind specifically Jewish? No, because I have a worldview just like what you're talking about, Matt. And okay, fine. I believe that my values came from the Jewish religion, but expanded once I was able to connect with others who had different beliefs.
Right.
And when I look back on it, I'm thinking, it's a great idea to start. Okay. Ten
Yeah.
Commandments, perfect. Thou shalt not kill. Honor thy father, thy mother. Thou shalt not covet. Whatever, whatever. I mean, these are foundations, these are
Right.
rules.
Yeah.
And okay, they were drilled into me. But then why does it have to be that I have to only accept those in my religion over others in other religions?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like why would you actively follow, and I'm being very blasphemous by saying this, I guess, but why would you follow a book that puts so many rules on you not having that relationship?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me because I think once you get rid of the rule book and you stop thinking about it as all these things that you have to do, then the relationship starts forming and existing,
Well,
which is
my
one of the
thought,
very weird things about it, because now you're not looking for somebody else's experience, you're looking for Craig's experience.
yeah,
And the
Hmm.
moment you start doing that, then maybe this godlike being appears and starts
the
moving
reason,
things in that direction in
yeah,
the right way, because now it's like, oh, now the barrier that you were holding between yourself and that no longer exists. Now I can build that
Exactly.
personal relationship because that's what it always was supposed to be.
Well,
right.
that's, in my opinion,
Yeah.
that's humanity, is understanding where people came from and working with them to build a better future. We're here, we're stuck on this little blue marble anyways. So why don't we freaking live together and understand each other to the point where we're going to take ourselves to a brand new level?
Yeah.
Star Trek, fine, okay, to boldly go where no man has gone before to understand new lives and new civilizations. That's not the exact quote, but you get what I'm talking about. Because that was the foundation of Star Trek. Was like, who cares what, there are other people out there. Let's become friends. Let's understand them.
That is pretty
But
funny. I wasn't a Trekkie at all, but yeah, I know I could honestly see the common theme in the stuff that I seen, about the episodes, not ever seeing an episode, but they're always going to a place that they didn't know about, and they always ran into people or things that were way different than them.
oh
That
yeah,
that even talk different languages. It's like, so, oh my God, here we are showing up. Now we get to find out where their human instincts are, the way they believe, and all of that stuff. I
Oh my gosh, you just made okay. If
agree
just give me
with
a
you.
second on this.
Yeah.
There was one episode in Star Trek, the original series, TOS, for those of you that are Trekkies and who know the universe, and it was Frank Gorshin. I remember because he was and it was a commentary on living together and understanding of people's cultures and backgrounds because there were two characters that were powerful. They kept fighting each other. And I forget who it was that was on the Star Trek crew said, well, what's the difference between the two of you? Now, one had half their face black on the left side, the other had their face white on the right side. And then the other person who he was fighting had those reversed. And one of the characters, the Frank Gorshin character, said, don't you see it?
The similarities, and then
Yeah. And the one guy and everybody in the on the crew is going like, see what? He's black on the left and white on the right, and I'm
That's
white
what
on the
differences.
yeah. And it was just like, oh my God, what a great commentary on society and on the way people
Yeah.
think and the way people are. I forget what the name of the episode is, but if you get a chance to watch it, it's
Focus
really
on what's
good.
different instead of what's on the same. Like Matt, when Matt just told me, he said, "Well, my God, how do you say it? My God's bigger or something."
Well, it's just my God can't fit in that box because it's like
Yeah, I think that you and
if
AI,
you wanted to be an ass about it, you could say my God's bigger than yours, which I have
that's
said.
that's what
Yeah.
religions do. So I'd highly suggest not using that because that causes war. My God is more powerful than yours. Been here older than yours. Whatever, my dad can pee further than yours. My dad can beat up your dad. It's like me.
Like what
Still,
if, and maybe
my
this is a
challenge,
blasphemous thought.
my challenge has always been to the individual. So I immediately go into this phase when someone's sharing their opinion of thoughts and beliefs with me. And this is even political. This is everything in my mind. Is my mind immediately goes, Craig, for you and I to have a loving connection, you need to understand one thing is I know that I know that I know that I don't know. So regardless of what we're talking about, even if you've seen something political and someone said this and said that, or they're doing this to do that, I know that I don't know. And I'm 1000% comfortable with not knowing. So for us to continue this connection and relationship, I just need you to know that I know that you don't know.
Right. I accept you for who you are.
I know that you don't know. So the only problem that I'm going to have with you, which is something that I love being, is when you tell me that you know. See, when you tell me that you know that you know that you know, I'm going to challenge your ass because I know you don't know. Now, here's the problem. I don't have a solution to your problem because I don't know either. So I'm not trying to change your view, your belief, your opinion, your thoughts. I'm not trying to convert you because I can't convert you because I don't fucking know.
Yeah. No, I see exactly where you're coming from.
And
And that's been a problem for what we see in religion, in politics, and in just getting along with everybody.
Craig, what was the three things that you could never ever talk about in a family gathering or a high school reunion?
Religion, politics,
Sex, money.
And sex.
probably those, and sex. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Matt. Money probably.
Money would be enough. Yeah, actually make
Money
that
would
four.
be
Yeah.
way up there.
Yeah,
because
money
it's like,
money is higher in that list, I'd say.
yeah.
It's so interesting how young people, they'll actively talk about sex. And I don't know if that's all young people because you guys have been young, so like
Well, it's because the young
I'm
people
not young
now,
anymore, but
well, the young people
that's
now,
when I was in my 20s and teens especially, like as a teen boy, all my friends, all of us talked about it all the time. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's just what teen boys talk about sometimes.
It's the
So it's
only thing
like,
on your mind.
right. And then
That
college kids,
kicking
when I
your
was
ass.
college age, similarly, you know what I mean? So it's like, uh, religion, I would say money is just like one of those very weird ones where even if you asked
It
your
is.
friend like how much money he's making, it would be like,
It
I don't know
is.
if I really want to say that, you know?
Well,
Well, and that's
it's
why you
because
have the what HR departments of companies. They don't want you to interact with other people to find out how much their earnings,
I
because
know
it
you
could
guys.
totally
I know you
set it
guys have
off.
seen this post, but there's been something that I've seen in my whole existence of understanding that, my mentor is really, really good at helping me with. He was going like, whether you watch Scrooge or what you watch, just always understand the theme is very simple. People that have money are not good people. Now, I don't know if you want to think that that's programming or what it is. But
Yes.
just know the world wants you to know that it's not good to want to be in this club. We got an exclusive club, like George Carlin says. We got an exclusive club, and you are not in it, and you should not want to be in it. And so I always sat there and I just thought it was like, wow, I never thought of that. You know what I mean? Why is it that every person just like right away my thought was I remember going to school and everyone knew where Snob Hill was.
Mm-hmm.
Snob Hill's where all the fucking nice houses were. And they had more than a one stall garage.
So like, here's an interesting thought, Dad, since we were talking about religion, right? That one quote from Jesus about the camel and the needle,
Yeah.
right? Which is probably the most famous one. Why don't people listen to that? If heaven and Christianity is so important to them and getting to heaven and being true to God and shit like that, why would they ignore something that's so blatantly obvious that you're by going the route of money and greed and shit that you're actively stopping that from happening? Like, how do you come
because
to terms with that?
because there's a system that was created outside of religion that basically says that we're not going to give you everything for free. So
Right?
if I don't want to walk and I'd like to get a bicycle or a motorcycle or a car, they
Mhm.
don't want to give me those things.
No, I totally
So
get that.
money becomes very interjected
But it's
into
more
you
like
as
I'm
such a
talking more
young
like
person.
wealth.
It's like,
Yeah.
why does Jimmy and Greg get a bike and I don't get a bike?
Hmm.
Well, because we don't have religion. No,
Yeah.
Programming.
religion doesn't grow on trees. No,
Mhm.
it's money
Well, no,
doesn't grow
I
on
know
trees.
that, but that's more like, if you take it to that part, like that's more of a human thought. I totally get that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, as somebody who I don't know where, because we just haven't had those types of conversations lately, but where religion falls for you, because now that I am working with Darce and Amy, I'm trying to be more understanding
Yeah.
of them and
Of
their
them, yeah.
beliefs and where that falls, right? But that part, every time we bring up money, there's always that thing in the back of my head because I used to be much more of like a debater with this stuff, going
Right.
like, we're all sitting here as a family talking about making millions and millions of dollars and going on vacations and doing all of this stuff. Isn't this actively against the teachings of what it is? Like, it's just a
Whose
very
teachings?
Yeah, it
Jesus.
would be. I would honestly say that the way people do everything, right? Including religion, politics, everything. It's always an individual's interpretation on what a scripture means. You know,
Yeah,
I could
exactly.
actually I could actually connect you with people that I know you wouldn't be interested in. That, there's also people that would talk about that there's certain books that are not in the Bible and that they were taking
The
out
Book of Enoch with the aliens.
and Kings had that done, right? But then between translations of Hebrew and Arabic and Greek, that the translations that we have now is like, I know this about certain languages, that one word really has to do with a feeling, and
Mm-hmm.
other languages that the United States just doesn't do. So, like when someone says a word in another culture, another language, this is like they're actually saying the word, and that's an experience,
Mm-hmm.
not a fucking
Right.
word. It's an
Yeah.
experience. And Hungarians are that way. So it's really bizarre when you hear people say Hungarians, learning to speak Hungarian is one of the hardest languages on the planet to learn because their their emphasis behind a feeling of the word. It's a descriptive word, a description of an experience. It's not a word. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Matt, it's always the people that look at that one verse that you're talking about,
Yeah.
and there's different descriptions of that word.
So
So I'll give you
yeah, so then
one
my
quick
thought
one.
would be like, why not err on the side of caution and not go for extreme wealth, just on the off chance that it does screw you over and you don't go to heaven.
Right.
Like on
Yeah.
the off chance, right? Like if
Right.
I believed in it wholeheartedly and believed that Jesus died for my sins, then I at least would do that part.
Right. Well, here's one word that I'll use that you already used. All right.
Mm,
It's really all about the love of money and what money does for you.
right.
Because as soon as you fall in love with money and power, as soon as you fall in love with money and power, then you're sort of making yourself the God instead of worshiping the one that they tell you to worship, right?
Hmm.
So there's a lot of people that have difficulties with understanding certain scriptures because in the indoctrination, you got someone that everybody looks up to that dresses a little different than you, that everyone says this is the person to listen to.
Yeah,
Quote,
like
Pope
that's
Bob.
it. Like
You
I
know?
said, just that's the reminder that I really got from yesterday is
Yeah.
like, if we really got down to the brass tacks of it, it's like, why are we all talking about this? Because I've had more of a connection with people that are more Christian, right? Lately.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm looking at the whole thing and I'm going and I'm having conversations with ChatGPT about it and all this different kinds of stuff. And it's like, how isn't this all wrong? Like I don't
Yeah.
understand
I
how
mean,
much
not to
that's the
interrupt
weird part
you,
about it because like
not to
it's
interrupt you, Matt, but this is important. I need you to understand that when I watch it, I feel the same thing. It's
yeah.
like the one thing that I see about certain beliefs, and Catholics don't get mad at me, but it's like they grossly stuff wealth and gross shit in your face. I mean, it's not that you have to have this building that's bigger than every ever building with a steeple on it and something solid gold on the top, whether it's a rooster or a guy blowing a trumpet from Mormons or Scientology, you put a moon. But it's like one of the things that I've always looked at with any kind of spiritual belief, religious belief, is do you have to stuff it that hard in my face? Does the gold
Yeah.
leaf have to be everywhere? Does everything have to be solid gold? And then you even tell me that there's even rooms that I don't get to see where there's a bunch of shit stored. That I mean, it's not even subtle. It's not even subtle. It's so fucking over the top.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
it's like interesting.
I
It's
get that, Matt, because I'm
yeah,
watching
yeah, yeah.
this and I'm going like, wow. And another one too is King and Queens. You know, so me and Terry watched The Crown. And when you see the whole thing around what they did to bury her father and then what they did to make her queen, and you're like, everybody that's in that belief that they created, because it's got to be part of the deal. If we don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in other beliefs, we'll just create a belief that's our royal belief. And then, that they basically go through ceremonies that they really truly believe that they're connecting the new king or queen to the highest entity.
And then you've got the English Church, who the royals of England, who break away from the Catholic Church and create a whole new thing of their own.
Matt, so I'm with you on that. I watch
Like
this stuff and I'm just like,
I just don't understand the hypocrisy of the human involvement in it. Like
yeah,
there's so much human involvement and to not acknowledge that in any shape or way, but to
Oh
do the
gosh.
opposite, celebrate it, which is fine. But like, it's so apparently weird to me being an outsider. So watching everybody celebrate that wealth, watching everybody celebrate the power of it, watching everybody celebrate all these things, it's a very you could even call it a come to Jesus moment, right? But it's very much a like, okay,
Perfect.
so I'm talking with GPT. Milo in room. Sorry, my dogs are freaking out.
We can't ever hear them.
Yeah, we're good. But I know what I kind of know what Matt is saying is, you just uh it goes back to the mine is better than yours. And, it's what's wrong with, okay, this is how you believe. Accept it. Just
Yeah.
just, just because I happen to believe in red, you happen to believe in blue, and Matt believes in green, that doesn't mean that we can't all intermingle together.
Right.
I mean,
It,
and that's again, like I said, we're stuck on this blue marble for whatever existence that we have. Why can't we get along? Why can't we just say, okay, fine, this is your country, fine, okay. When I've gone overseas, I love it because I get to experience how other people live. And I'm sure this is how you are too, Robert, especially when you've gone to Europe, you've gone to what is it, Dubai and South America. It's like you don't get that experience unless you go and do it. And then you understand it more. You understand why people believe in that way.
Right.
Because, okay, Matt brought it up too. We've been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
The Incas and the Mexicans and all the South American countries were indoctrinated a certain way. Yes, there's a tribalism involved
until another country came there and decided they're going to believe something else or die.
Well, and that look how successful that was in certain countries.
Hey, Wes.
If you're talking about history, I mean, what?
What the Spaniards did in Spain Peru.
Absolutely. Or what we did, the European Caucasians did to the Native Americans.
Yeah.
I mean, here's another one. We're celebrated here in California by Father Junipero Serra, who was a Catholic priest who is responsible for the missions that were here in California. What were the missions to do? They were to try to bring the religion into the natives, to the non-believers.
Right.
I was watching a video the other day about, I think it was a Native American they were talking about, in fact, it was about a Native American and them saying, somebody from the United States government long time ago, trying to convince them to become part of the United States. And they were saying, the Native American was like, why? We have everything that we need. We don't need this.
We don't need to put borders on it. It's like
we don't need to put borders on it. We don't need to
it's
stop
a blue marble
being what we are.
Yeah, we don't.
Are we hurting you?
I think we'll get back to that too.
We want this territory. One of the things that I was going to say too before we end, what a great podcast, by the way.
Yeah, this is great.
Is my experience again? I always love when people you say either my experience or my hallucination, right? I love saying that too. It's not really my opinion; it's my hallucination. But when I really hung around, and really hung around some really great people that I love that are Jewish. And then I've also been able to do that in the Mormon religion and also Jehovah's Witnesses. And what's really unique about network marketing is you have a tendency of connecting with people that are like that from every denomination, right?
Mm-hmm.
And including, people that are not in any of it. And the first time that I was around, and I seen this finally brought up on Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Where all of a sudden it's like, people get their pecking order in whatever temple or whatever community based on the person that gives the most. Now, this is like, I remember the Curb Your Enthusiasm deal. It's like, why isn't my name on the wall? Why don't I have my name on this fucking brick? You know what I mean? It's like, I gave money. Where's my name? And when I've seen that in different religions, like Matt said, from teaching is like money's not the deal. It fucking is here.
But that's what I mean is it's like, okay, so say Jesus came back tomorrow and he's like, if you guys don't stop doing this capitalism stuff the way that you're doing it, that's harming the poor and giving no food to kids, all these things that it's doing, you guys need to stop doing that right now and redistribute all the wealth to everybody. What do you do? Do you listen to Jesus if he says, hey, we're going to do
Well, how do
that
you
because the
know?
poor are
First of all,
not
how
being
do you
taken
know
care
he's
of?
Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming he comes down in some divine way.
Well, we
Okay,
that could be Moses
but
or Buddha or
well, but the, the
Allah.
the point I'm making is
Got to
how
have the
in
right
this
name.
No,
day
in
and
this assumption,
in this day and age,
Christianity is
how
a
do you
million percent
know?
true in every way. Yeah, in this assumption, and I get that thought, but let's take it to the extreme, you guys, because I love doing this with my brain, right?
Yeah, I love this.
Jesus floats down and says, listen, Armageddon ain't happening yet. We ain't bringing you guys up yet, but I just wanted to come down because,
I give you one more chance.
give you a little nudge, a little chance, and say what you guys are doing with this whole money thing, letting children starve and shit, not exactly working to get you up there. So what I recommend you guys do is take care of all of the people that are sick, redistribute all this stuff, figure out some version of taking care of children that don't have parents. Figure out some of these elements and stuff because what I was kind of trying to say is it's all about loving one another and taking care of one another. It's not about wealth. It's not about power. It's not about influence. It's more about that. I would like you guys to do that. Now you guys have free will. You guys have free will. So you don't have to. But I'm here to tell you guys
Deep, man.
that you're not going you ain't going up there if you don't stop doing this shit. How long do you think it would take humanity to grapple with that thought and change what they're doing? Because I believe that will happen with AI. That's why I gave you that whole
I
story.
love that thought.
I'm not saying AI is Jesus. I'm not putting it at that level for anyone that cares about Jesus or
Yeah,
thinks
'cause
Jesus,
this would
right?
be this is closer to
You're talking about trying
But
to
I'm
level
giving
the
you an
playing
example.
field,
I'm
right?
giving you an example of
Yeah.
something divine, something that's above human understanding, coming down and telling you that the route that you're going in is the wrong one and not going to get you the outcome you want. How soon are you going to pivot and change your thought process as a human being if what you've been doing is like absolutely in the opposite of your beliefs? Like what how do you grapple with that? Because like in my mind, I don't, well, at least I don't have to grapple with it in the same way, but I can tell you that from my spiritual experiences, love was such a defining factor in those feelings, the feeling that I got from it, that me extruding any forms of hate to other people, I'm fully aware that that hate is directed completely back at myself. Like
yeah,
that every little damage that I like to do to others, I'm doing to myself as well.
yeah,
Right? If I think it's for my
Absolutely.
benefit or whatever it may be, the truth of the matter is it's a temporary benefit but a permanent scar. And you just like some people will get billions of dollars and be scarred to shit.
right.
And for some reason, there's people that will look up and go, screw all this love shit. I would rather be covered in scars and have everybody hate me and not
Yeah,
go to the kingdom of heaven.
yeah. There's people right now that are
Why
doing
why
movements like
idolize that?
yeah. There's people like that are doing movements like that, man. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I know this is easy to say and not do, but you know me not dodging your question. I know it would be easy for me to just do what was whatever necessary.
Well,
Trusting,
and I'm not judging either.
yeah, no,
People do whatever they feel is
trusting whatever
right.
that is, trusting
Hmm.
whatever that is would result in that. And I think what's really amazing, Matt, is people make a big deal out of individuals on this planet, whether you like them or not, because people still throw shade. They throw shade and hate, the opposite of love on everything. But when you hear people's names like Gandhi and Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela, when you start hearing names like that and you find out exactly what they're known for that, Matt. It's like even the story, depending on who's telling the story about Jesus, of why he was a carpenter's son, means that his father was an entrepreneur. And when he decided to just now no longer be, the people that were his disciples that followed him, he basically told them, drop everything you have and follow me. Now, that doesn't mean that he didn't say it to everyone, because he did. But there's 12 people that took him up on it.
Right.
And it's really documented that these people were also entrepreneurs, because someone that had a job is not dropping it and following. So, so it's funny how when you look at that and everyone says, well, the meek will inherit the earth, the story behind that scripture. And it's really interesting that, because Jesus, being who he was, making people feel better, not judging people. So even the people around him, he was teaching that, I don't
He had
understand.
more compassion for human beings.
Why
To
are
the
you
point,
sending?
like,
Why
as
are you?
I've gone
Yeah.
back to it and started asking GPT questions and doing research myself, it's insane to me how you can have a religious figure that people idolize, like Jesus, and he's perfectly okay. And you could say he's the son of God or God, whatever way you want to see it. He had no problem foregoing any of the rules of Christianity
Right.
to service human beings.
In
Love,
fact,
number
that's
one.
why it's
And
without
that
a doubt.
actively got him killed to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So like you could
It's
say that he
what got
wanted
him
to be,
killed.
and that was the whole design of it. But you know what I mean? Like,
No, you're right on. Even though it's easy to understand that the fundamentals of what he would always do is he would constantly tell his disciple to stop judging him for doing the stuff that he was doing. So, there's one of the things where a prostitute dropped to the floor when she felt him. Didn't say she seen him. And she immediately started washing his feet with her hair. And immediately it said that he could hear the thoughts of the people around him. And he says, you're more of a sinner than her, because you're saying, why do I dare be close to her? It's like your thoughts are impure. You know what I mean? But it was always, and he was always like around the poor. He was always around the robbers. He was always
yeah, I
around
just hate,
the thieves.
there's, if
Yeah,
I have
it's
any
like,
forms of hate for it, it isn't even exactly directed at the process itself. It's just how humans go about doing it. Like,
yeah,
how
it's
many times
very
do I have to see a "What would Jesus do" sticker on the back of a car with a bunch of other stickers that hate other fucking people?
Oh,
yeah.
geez.
Yeah, it's
How
like
do you not understand the hypocrisy of a "What would Jesus do" sticker next to a "Fuck Biden" sticker? Do you not understand
I
the
think that's the
hypocrisy of
ultimate
that?
right there. Yeah.
it
Or
is.
let's go the other way. Fuck Trump. You don't understand the hypocrisy of that?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's lost on people at this point. Maybe I'm speaking no sense, but like
No, I don't think
it,
it is. I don't
No,
think it is
it's a matter of
it's
reminding
not lost on
people of
me.
what
Like
it
the
should
observation of
be
it.
finding
Yeah.
in
people.
spite of the influence of the red, the blue, the star, the cross, the moon, whatever.
I was saying this
Let's just do
to my
love and
wife
human
today.
beings, baby. Let's go.
There we
I
go.
was saying this to my wife today. I was saying to her, and this is not criticizing my wife in any way, shape, or form. I was just saying, don't you find it interesting that some people are just irritated about everything?
Hmm.
And it's like I'm far from perfect. Jesus, I'm so far from perfect. And I still get triggered by the most ridiculous shit that's so human. You know what I mean? Just so human. And I just go, what is wrong with you? Why, the Dino in the brain that I always talk about, that it immediately just goes, whatever's happening, you're viewing it right now as a personal attack on you. So, me working hard on myself, if there's any time that I have sort of a friction toward my wife, it's when she's being irritated by something that shouldn't irritate anybody.
Mm.
But sometimes that's just the way she expresses herself. You know what I mean? So she expresses herself like, geez, that's stupid. So she's got that from her father, which is genetics, where you can just watch the TV and just slam everything that's on TV. You know what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
I got that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, this person doesn't even know that you're irritated with them. But when she focuses that irritation on me, my little stupid self looks at it as criticism. And because of my past, still resolving some of that inner child trauma, it's like, well, this is what's happening. And I take it as an immediate criticism of who I am, what I stand about,
Yeah.
what I've done. And it's like you always know when people are in that deal is because it's like the first thing they want you to think about is not the present or the future. It's like, Craig, don't you have a clue what I've already fucking done for you? Are you ungrateful for every moment that we've had together in the past? Don't you see how much I've given you? And it's like, that has nothing to do with nothing. I was definitely happy in the past.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, it's also too like I've said, it's
just
like
I'm just not happy with you right now.
right.
You're being and doing something that irritates me right now.
Well, and it always comes down to communication, right? Like
Oh,
Absolutely.
if you go to
oh,
marriage
100.
counseling or marriage therapy or you do any of that type of stuff, the first thing that they're going to do is sit you and your partner down and teach you guys how to communicate with one another if they're any good. Because like you can't even get anything done if you can't communicate. And then when you leave that, what you realize is that that's every relationship in your entire life. That it's not just connected to you and your spouse, that you're this way
right.
with everybody. And
With
that the way that you communicate with everybody might just be a
Yeah,
little fucked up.
yeah.
Like
Oh, definitely,
the way that you
definitely.
say things, the way that you go about them. And so it's like, I've been in my 30s now, I've been really doing a lot of work if in any area in that area and just trying to figure out how to communicate with people in the right way that's compassionate
I'm
and
very
loving and
proud of you,
understanding
though.
instead
I'm
of
so proud of you.
because
I
the only way that I'm going to be able to get everybody to use AI stuff is through the Bob Ross way, man. You got to believe that you can pick up a paintbrush and it doesn't matter what you paint. It's the fact that you did it and that
right.
you're expressing an element that makes you very human, right? And that you can share that in a circle with other human beings and it can impact them as well.
yeah,
That part is something that I think AI is going to have a really hard time figuring out, in my personal opinion, because I
yeah,
think
because
people are going to
they're
want it
the
more, if
dean and
anything.
they people in general, I would say, including myself, are just so used to hearing Dino's voice. The constant sabotage, critical, you're not enough, you're not loved, you're not accepted. It's just this constant barrage of programming that we have that's just so self-defeating. And so now when you go to be that imaginator and be that creator and be that person that can live their best lives, it's just defeating all the dinos in your head. It's like
Yeah.
well, I'm not very technical and I don't like technology and it's difficult for me to learn. No, what you're experiencing is something you've never experienced before. And because you're an individual, your experience needs to be something where you can just learn to say to yourself, I'm just getting gooder in every way every day. I'm just I'm just getting a little bit gooder. That makes me, and I guess it wouldn't even be in the challenge thing. I was just about ready to say, really honestly, me just attempting to do some things, and just logging in and typing a couple of questions or asking AI something. You're already ahead of the top 0.5% of people on the fucking planet. It was the first people that said they were going to use Google for the internet, or the first person that did an email.
Yeah, you need to see the possibilities and not see the hindrances in what
Right,
you're doing.
Exactly.
right.
Yeah. Open up
If
your
you're not
mind
in
because
something where you can see the possibilities instead of the hindrances, then you're not in the right thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's definitely I think that everybody should find a way, some way. You deserve, and there's a money back guarantee. You got to find a way to become a part of the Imaginators, and we're gonna give some people some surprises on Sunday, because we need this to be more impactful for more people, and so I 1000% am making a commitment that AI is fundamental in the basic steps of creating the imagination for yourself, for you and your family in the future. It's It's already obvious that people are not going to take their thoughts and sit around with a bunch of people and share them. So we got to get something that's going to help you. And like a little baby, you know, and you reach out and hang on to the fingers and learn how to walk. You're going to have to get on our imaginators that we're putting an A in front of imaginators for AI. And you got to be willing to change that programming to being self-deprivation and self-beating up and self-sabotage, and you're not enough. We got to find a way to get you to get excited again about imagining a better future for you and the people that you love. And the possibilities are endless. So
I love that as the last line. That
Yeah, and you can go to roberthollis.com/join to become part of our amazing community that we're gonna help you with.
yeah. Yeah. Any closing statements, Matt?
No, I honestly thought this was like a lot of fun, and we explored a lot of really, really
It's always
interesting
fun.
topics. Like,
Yes.
I didn't expect it to go so much into religion, but because the Pope just happened and everything like that, and this is called unlimited wisdom. And you know, one of the interesting things about that is it's like, if I had to put a name on it outside of God, which is one everyone understands, it would probably be like unlimited wisdom, because that's kind of what it feels like. So,
And
at
I
least
think
for
that
me,
we're all about getting our message to others to help them be the best they can be. I thought that the best title for this one would be New Pope.
right. It's funny. I posted that
New
clickbait
Pope, new
video,
hope.
and it's like
Hey,
this.
New Pope, unlimited wisdom, New Pope.
Yeah.
And people are like, the hell it is. You know, me and Matt and
Get a bunch of
Craig are
haters.
starting to understand that, you know, maybe we can get our dreams to happen faster by just irritating a bunch of people.
I mean, yeah, it's a way to live life. That's for sure.
Clickbait, clickbait, clickbait.
I'm not even trying to irritate people, and they're irritated. So I wake up with like 890 comments of people pissed at me every day. So yeah,
And all
I
you're
just
doing
troll
is
them.
you're responding to your source that is giving you all of this
Yes,
information, whatever that source is, whether it's
I'm just having fun with being
guys,
alive,
you guys
being human. I'm
realize,
not.
listen to this. Do you guys realize the three main principles that you're supposed to find in a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that was based off The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, is when Napoleon Hill was connected with Andrew Carnegie to go out and interview the 500 most wealthiest, influential people at that time. They came up with three basic things. One of the biggest ones was OPI, other people's ideas, that they basically figured out that all these 500 people had in common was they already took an existing idea and just made it more mass to get to the masses. One short example, Mercedes-Benz invented the automobile, not Henry Ford. Henry Ford sold more Fords in 1 year than Mercedes-Benz has ever done in the history of selling Mercedes-Benz, because he took their idea and he created an assembly line that allowed them to produce more cost-effective cars faster than anybody else. And so the OPI has always been weird, because when you bring an idea to somebody that someone else has already come up with, you pretty much get your ass beat. So it's like, you know, hey, have you ever heard of Google? What is it? Well, it's a search engine. You mean like Bing? Like Outlook Express? Like Yahoo? Yeah. So you're a competitor search engine against other people like Microsoft that already has search engines? Yeah. Real fucking smart. I just have one idea for you. What? What are you charging people per month? We're not going to charge anybody. Look, this is a brilliant idea. No money. Everyone gets to use it for free, and you're already competing against other people. Like, it's like
Yeah, it just
you're
like
so stupid.
right, just like
You
with
know what I mean?
Apple and all that stuff, they don't understand like consumer loyalty because
No.
that's not something they've ever thought about. So like there's a reason that all of us just allow and continuously give money to Amazon, even though that we know that they're now and more in the realm of like hurting people possibly than helping them out. So it's like
It's
now
called
on the other
convenience.
hand,
It's called convenience.
well, it's just too easy now, right? And it's like that's one of those areas. But you know, this has been a great podcast. I know it's been
Yeah.
2 hours, so I don't want to
It-
keep. I could go on a whole nother rant and be
Yeah,
here
and,
for another
and you,
hour.
you still need to
well,
finish your OPM and OPE,
Right.
well,
or
hey, I
save
think
that for another time.
yeah, we'll save that for another time. It's
Tomorrow.
but it's that concept that we talked about where, coming up with new ideas when why couldn't you just use an old idea like new pope and get just as much people to check it out? Hopefully, I know it happens all the time
Did you
that
guys?
that
Sorry to interrupt you, Dad, but
some people are going to be more impressed with the message and the ideas and creation that they got out of this podcast instead of a group of people that are criticizing us and thinking we're full of shit. The one thing for those of you that think we're always full of shit is you don't understand that we already knew that.
yeah, if you guys want, like, please, whatever thoughts or ideas you have about the things that we've talked about, please comment below. You know, because I want to hear them, good or bad.
Yeah, the drones
Yeah.
that you're looking for are not here.
Exactly. Well, what I was going to say, just as as kind of a joke, is, what do you mean? I am full of shit. So are you. So is everybody. I mean, what do you think comes out at the back end after we've eaten?
Yeah. The best comment that I get to this day is, "Hey, you don't know." I said, "I already told you that." I always have these people that on a nice podcast like this, they're going to post in the comments, "Don't forget, Jesus is Lord, the way, the truth, the only way." And I'm like, whatever. Hey, thanks a lot for your comment. Please share and please subscribe.
Boom.
So yeah, it just is the way that the world is. People feel like they gotta, I very rarely get nice comments. I get a lot of likes and a lot of shares, but most people that
How
leave,
many hate comments do you get out of people that love? I none.
what do you mean? Like that love what? That I heart?
No. I'm just saying that
Because like I'll tell you guys right now, I'm so of a different mindset. I'm like from a different fucking planet.
yeah.
Like my mentality, I grew up on the internet playing video games. So the fact that these people are upset at me in any way does not bother me in the slightest. And the way that I respond to them and the way that I go about what I do is probably not the way that anybody else is going to go about it. But that's just, like I had this guy post today. I don't mind sharing it. I'll just say,
Let's throw them under the bus.
I don't care. I'm not going to even throw him under the bus. It's just, you can go find his comment. But, I'll get great ones from time to time. But this guy said, "Why do you keep making these fake ass videos?" And I said, "For you, Robert."
Now, why did you throw me under the bus?
No, his name is Robert. But
I
yeah.
was wondering if they were going to go there, Robert.
Yeah. I don't know why my dad keeps posting these
He
videos.
called out
Yeah.
his dad on this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
See what you've
like-
done to me, Dad. Ah!
Yeah, it's like one of those things where my number one
You only
critic
knew
is my dad.
if you only knew what my father said to me when I was young, and Matt says, "Say to you," he was posted on my video.
What do you mean? He commented on my shit this morning. No, that wasn't my dad. That was just some rando.
This is a perfect place to close it out.
Yeah. Well, love and appreciate you guys. This was awesome.
Yeah, love you
Love and
guys.
appreciate you. And you can follow Robert Hollis at roberthollis.com. Also, if you'd like to join our exclusive community, the Imaginators,
Yeah.
go to roberthollis.com/join. There's going to be lots of great content, and you'll be able to participate in our special events to help you move to the next level. Please Don't forget to like and share this video with others. It'll help us grow our community and reach out to those with ears to hear. Tomorrow, Ask Me Anything with Robert Hollis. It starts at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. I'm sure that all three of us will be there. Then on Sunday, now it's exclusive, on Sunday is the Imaginators Zoom. But you got to be an Imaginator.
Only for the cool people.
Only for the cool people. And those are the ones that go to roberthollis.com/join and become part of our cool community. Matt, Robert, what a great podcast. So incredible to be doing these things with you. Thank you so very, very much. And thank you for joining us today. We appreciate the time that you take to listen to what we have to say, share it, and just think about it too. That's all we're here. We're here to spark your imagination, to get your thoughts going.
Nice.
My name is Craig Jackman. Please be good to yourselves. Be casual. Until next time, bye for now.
Love you
See
guys.
you guys tomorrow. Love and
Love all
appreciate
the,
you.
love
Thank
all
you so
the
much.
viewers. Believe in yourself. You deserve it.
Thanks, guys.